Hey guys, welcome to the Go Deep Sanctuary. My name is Aura, and I'm just going to start making videos based on different requests that I'm getting, and I'm going to post it in my YouTube account. So you're welcome to follow me there and find some other meditations or other forms of movement that might help release or open or connect, whatever your intention is. Today we're going to do a little bit more of a focus around the hip flexors and around the sacrum. So it's like this relationship from the front to the back a bit, and just kind of bring a little bit more awareness into these areas that seem to hold quite a bit of energy. And I think because we use them a lot, we sit the majority of the day, and then we don't actually move our legs very much, so the sacrum, everything isn't really moving as much as it needs to move. So these are just great little tools you can use throughout your week whenever you need them, whenever you remember, so that you can have more expansion, more openness, and more relaxation, and more awareness of this area, and more energy. I think sometimes when things are tight, it kind of suffocates that part of the body. So in a way, it's, if you think of like a tree with that vine wrapped around it, it's just squeezing. That's kind of what's happening to our body, when our tissue becomes super tight and angry. And nerves run in there. So a lot of information is like flowing through there. So it's just nice to have a more open area where there's a little bit more consciousness and awareness and movement and fluidity, and I feel like you'll just feel so much better. So today we're going to start on the table, and you're just going to follow along and at your own pace. So good luck. See you.
Find a table, a bed, something that's a little elevated. You're going to slide your leg and make sure that your knee is rotated downwards into the table, and that you can feel the front of your hip and maybe down into your quad, even stretching. So make sure you're adding a little bit of a scoop or a tuck under, kind of to draw the belly button in, and feeling your abdominal wall kind of pulling in and up. And just making sure that you're adding a breath and focusing on bringing a little bit more weight into that outside leg, making sure that knee is bent and that the hips are squared with the shoulders. Just in this demonstration, just showing the option of like coming all the way down if you feel like your back getting a little snug in that position, and just taking some long, deep breaths. I think breathing is probably the most important piece to this section. And if it feels good to add a little bit of a abdominal stretch, go ahead and do that. I like to wiggle out and kind of jostle my body a bit before switching over to the other side. We're just going to do the same thing on the other side. Yeah, making sure that right knee is rotated down and into the table, and playing around with where that left foot needs to be. Some people kind of open the knee up a bit and kind of open the pelvis. Yep, and then just make sure you're scooping the abdominal wall in and adding a nice long deep inhale, and exhale, drawing the belly button in, scooping the abdominal wall, and lengthening the spine. Keeping that leg, I'm kind of reaching and stretching out through that right leg, kind of adding a little bit more length through the hip flexor. Just mine are just so tight. So whatever feels good for your body, and just kind of find that natural stretch. I'm just focusing on keeping the pelvis squared, and making sure that if you need to come into this position all the way down, that's totally cool. I just encourage you to take as many breaths as you need to in that position. I think it's so nice. So we're just going to move into the next one. This is just like another option you can do if you don't like the first one. This is really easy. It's like you're on your bed and you just kind of slide your leg off, and you're noticing the front of your hip elongating, and kind of letting the weight of your thigh kind of pull the leg down and away from the body, but not letting your body go with it, kind of adding a tuck or a scoop and keeping that pelvis squared. And then when you're ready, go ahead and scooch to the other side. And just repeating the other thing, making sure that you're super relaxed and letting that left leg hang, stretching that hip flexor, letting everything just kind of flow down the leg, feeling it down. I even sometimes will like curl my toes and let the top of my foot kind of rest on the ground. Some people even like grab their foot and like hold onto their leg. So wherever you're at, just try not to let the hips rock forward. You want to keep your belly down and in and scooped back so that you're getting into that hip flexor, since the attachment is on the hip. If you let the hip roll forward, it's not really, it's, you know, maybe a little bit, but it works so much better when you activate the core. So just play with that. The next one, we're just adding a nice little stretch. This one's just nice to do just to kind of, because we've kind of opened up that area and it just creates a little bit more space. So really focusing on getting air into the rib cage in this one, just noticing the breath kind of funneling in all the way down the base of the spine, just making sure that that rib cage is getting enough air so you're really feeling that stretch in your back. And, you know, be aware of your shoulders. Try not to let your shoulders like pop up off the floor. If they are, just let the knee not bend as far, but you're kind of using your breath, letting that leg kind of gently fall to the ground. Sweet. So yeah, these are trigger point balls. They're super fun. You're welcome to use tennis balls, golf balls, lacrosse balls, whatever balls you got. Sometimes I even have these like super squishy, soft, tiny balls that are really nice. And obviously this is adding a totally different pressure because the table is soft. So if you need more pressure and more weight, do it on a hard surface. But this is, you know, nice for right now. It's just like I mean, I could definitely feel it like digging into my sacrum, but I start really low at the, you know, close to the base of my sacrum, and bringing the legs up creates a little bit more weight. So I just encourage you to play with that. You don't have to do this. You can do all of this with your feet still flat. Yeah, and just play with where the balls are at. You know, as you start to move the legs, you'll notice the balls will start to kind of move as well. So your job here is just to breathe and to notice and allow yourself to receive some of that really deep pressure into your sacrum with breath, just relaxing your nervous system, and in time just slowly transition into the other leg, keeping that abdominal wall scooped and in. A lot of this is about relaxing. The body will go a lot deeper when you're breathing. Your body is more able to relax, and you're more sensitive to sensations when you're breathing, and also just consciously noticing if you're able to receive. Sometimes people will grip and create a lot of tension. So just feeling that natural flow of energy, even into the spots that are quite tender, you know, I mean, maybe not letting yourself get over, say, if like 10 is extremely painful, like maybe getting to like a 6, you know, and then changing positions with the balls. So now I've just kind of moved the balls up about halfway to my sacrum, and I'm just doing a little alternative to opening the pelvis and having the balls in those positions. And I invite you to find where this feels best for you, where the balls need to be for your body. For me, they were about halfway up, but you might feel really good to keep them low, or it might feel really amazing to draw them up. I did notice as I was moving my legs and this like doing like little mild knee circles, and then doing a little bit of groin stretch, a little bit of knee circles, just kind of playing with my ability to get a little deeper with movement and breath, and just kind of exploring where those balls want to go. Nice. So this is just an invitation to just explore and be curious and super light on your body. but also just kind of finding where your limitations are and not pushing them, but just finding new ways that your body likes to move. So this is Happy Baby, and I am doing this with the balls kind of pinned up underneath. They're a little bit higher on my sacrum, based on my legs moving so much, the balls kind of just slowly slid up the back. And yeah, so here just rocking the sacrum. I was just doing like these pelvic curls where the pubic bone kind of draws towards the chin and then it gets pushed away from the chin. And you're just kind of pushing the sacrum down into the floor, kind of creating like this massage for the sacrum. So yeah, this is a little different. This is like clocks, or I like to imagine this is like a bowl, and your bowl is spinning, and you're just like spinning the bowl on the rim, and really the rim is your sacrum, and you're just kind of rolling around on that sacrum, just imagining your bowl and a little IT band stretch, just kind of allowing that side of the leg to get some length on both sides before we transition into the next exercise, the next stretch, I guess. And I'm just showing you these basic stretches. Normally I stay in them for a lot longer, so I invite you to just kind of play with what feels best for your body. I wanted to like test out and see if my hip flexor felt any different, if I was getting any more stretch. I wasn't really getting much more stretch. I was feeling, a little tension in there. So I decided to change it up a bit and kind of go a different route than what I had originally planned, just due to my, super overactive hip flexors. So you might need to find 2 blocks or books, whatever feels best for you. Just something to kind of like elevate you off of the table just a little bit. Here I'm going to kind of go out of the screen here in a minute to go grab these blocks, and take your time. Go ahead and grab those blocks and then bring them back to your space. And we're just going to set up with the blocks, and you're going to put them side by side, and these balls are going to sit on the blocks. You're going to strategically place your hip flexors right on top of these balls, and you're not, you're on the tissue. So this is like soft muscle tissue. So there's like, the hip flexor attachment, and then like right below that you'll kind of come into this like squishy area. So keeping, your knees like faced down, you should be feeling a lot of, pressure kind of going up and into that hip flexor area, and you're just breathing and softening and receiving and relaxing, allowing your face to relax, allowing your breath to funnel down into the base of your spine. And if you need to, I like to scooch them down just a teeny bit to kind of add like a little bit more length. And this kind of adds just like even more trigger point release into this. From what I've heard the hip flexors get like super dry and cranky and like dehydrated and just pretty gnarly. So any type of like love we can give to these guys is really important for the health of our back. And for our sanity, I swear. I think we hold so much energy just like in that part of our body. So find out what works best for you. So this last one was just kind of like a little cherry on top. It's for the IT band. And so this is really about trigger points. So this is you just kind of finding what works for you. I kind of just rail it in there, but you actually might need to go pretty soft. Some people are just super tender in this IT band, and we're starting on this side. So like on the side of the knee, right above the knee joint, there's going to be that attachment, and you're just kind of going up the attachment with the ball. And so like here is probably a more like, foundational with the legs straight and you're all the way down, or added weight, you put the other knee up, and then you sit up and kind of add a little bit more pressure. So as you get more comfortable with this one, obviously this one is super tender for lots of people. So just find what works best for you and then transfer over to the other side. Nice. Yeah, and remember to breathe. I think this one's really important for breathing. It's tender and it's angry. So, breathing into it and just kind of talking to the tissue and telling it it's okay and telling it it's safe can really help calm the panic that kind of comes into some of the tenderness of this tissue. So just be very easeful and curious with your body, and if you can, you're going to work your way up all the way up to the sides of the hips. So I just wanted to send like a personal thank you, and thank you for joining me and experiencing some just like easy hip release stuff. I'm going to keep building on these hip openers. That seems to be like the theme of all of this work, and connecting with our pelvis. So I hope you enjoyed these exercises, and I'd love to hear any more requests you have. Thanks so much. Have a nice day. Namaste.